Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Don't freak out. Don't freak out, folks. We have new graphics. We have new art for the pod. If you pulled us up on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes or whatever the hell else you kids use these days, you're going to see some new graphics. The YouTube channel, new graphics. Wow, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. New color scheme, which obviously is in pairing with Underdog's color scheme, but I kind of like the black and yellow. I kind of like it a lot.
Yeah, raising the look, raising the aesthetics.
Yeah, well, let's maybe not associate with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, who said it's black and yellow?
Well,
and
yeah, I understand. I understand the connection, but it's not really something that I want folks to think is intentional, because it's not.
It's intentional. No, it's as Bob Ross would say, it's a happy little coincidence. It's a happy color.
Sure, yeah, it's a happy mistake. Yeah, I think he called them happy mistakes, didn't he? Wasn't that a Bob Ross thing?
Yeah. Happy clouds, happy little trees.
The whole idea behind this color scheme is for us to be able to get up close and personal with Paul Skeens without credentials.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just to walk around in the black and yellow and
Paul, it's like boys from spring from the complex. We're just back here to come on. That's how it's down, right?
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, no, I'm very excited about that. I think the black and yellow is pretty dope. What, Dallas? What?
Well, we're talking about Paul Skeens. Something just popped into my head.
What
Did you guys see what happened to Livvy Dunne?
Yeah, she tried to move into a murderer's apartment.
No.
Yeah, she tried to move into a murderer's apartment, and then like the board basically voted her out and said, we want you to protect your image by not being associated with this mass murder. So she didn't get the apartment.
It was
something along those lines. Yeah.
I mean, maybe far off in the distance, a parallel line, but I don't know if they were tightly close.
What was the version of the story that you heard?
That sweet young girl was looking to set up or set down roots in an area where she felt magic. She was tied to this place. Obviously, she's got somebody in her life right now who makes this all the more important to her. And in pursuit of making the man she loves happy and doing something lovely for herself all at the same time, she wanted to move in to a lovely abode that just happened to be at one point in time inhabited by the great humanitarian George Herman Ruth. And they basically pulled a coup on Livvy and were like, nope. So who hold on. Who wanted to move? Livvy Dunne wanted to move. Yeah, that's a nay for me. The nays have it. They told her to beat it. Livvy Dunne could not rent Babe Ruth's old apartment because the entire building apparently got together and was like, nah, fuck that. No Livvy.
I feel like you and I just said the same thing. I don't know what you said that I didn't say.
No. Well, I think you used a terrible and a derogatory term to identify somebody, and I don't know who you were talking about because you said something about murder.
Well, he killed his ex-wife.
Yeah, and I mentioned George Herman Ruth.
Yes,
as one of the game's and the world's great humanitarians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, murder in the first degree. Got away with it, obviously, for many years until we put two and two together. And poor young Helen, her spirit lives on, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that Livvy Dunne was not able to get this apartment. He probably plotted the murder within those walls. So that's a piece of history right there.
See, I think you're just so far off base here. I can't wait for the George Herman Ruth camp to finally catch wind of this. I mean, what's Roger Maris Jr. doing? How come somebody can't send him this
Hopefully
clip
somewhere shutting the fuck up. I think that would be great.
Of you just defiling the good name of George Herman Ruth. I'm surprised the St. Mary's Catholic School for Boys hasn't figured out a way to come for you and send you a C and D at least.
No, it's because it's just kind of out there right now. It is it's more of a put two and two together type situation. I feel bad for Livvy. I feel like she'll be okay in the end. I feel like she'll probably end up with a residence that makes her happy. And you said her boyfriend. She wants to make her boyfriend happy as well.
Yeah, I guess she's I don't know. She's got
she's in a committed relationship. She's trying to
Her
expand her portfolio by getting into real estate, which is a very, you know who else? A great man. You want to talk about a Yankee who lived with integrity and honor. Alex Rodriguez started his real estate portfolio at a very young age, much like Livvy Dunne is trying to do now. I believe he was with the Seattle Mariners when he first took advice about getting into real estate, and he's been a real estate guy since the very beginning, since he first came into money, and obviously that's paid dividends. Not that he's needed the extra income, as he's once been the owner of the largest contract in the history of the sport. Actually, in I believe in American sports, it was Kevin Garnett had the biggest contract, and then Alex Rodriguez doubled it up. So he's not hurting for money, but if you're following in his footsteps, you're doing something right.
Yeah, every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
How about Devin Booker signing an extension that will at one point pay him $72.5 million per season?
That's so.
Yeah, shout out to Phoenix Suns.
I saw your tweet about
that was a layup, man.
The athletes and it is crazy to think about. Like I just, when we talk about shit like this, I'm sorry, but I am reminded about how ridiculous, and I'll say it, how ridiculous I felt talking about paying a guy $40 million a year almost 10 years ago when we started these discussions about some of these massive contracts. And we have blown so far past that being ridiculous at this point. I didn't think it would I didn't think it would happen that quickly, but my God. And in all areas, baseball, basketball, it doesn't matter. Hockey. Fuck, I don't know if hockey's caught up like that, but
they're getting paid by the hour, I think.
Hockey, they actually, if you like fire your slap shot over a certain speed, they reduce your pay for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It feels like they're getting boned on the ice.
Yeah, for sure. But I will admit this, Dallas, you were out in front of this one. You, during a time where it was almost like 20 million was the max contract in baseball. Like if you were an elite player, it's like, that's a $20 million a year player. It was like the Miguel Cabreras, that was 20 a year. Justin Verlander, well, he gets 20 a year. If you were the top of the top, then you were going to get 20 a year. That was the scale, 0 to 20 million. And then we started to like creep up the scale, and it's like, well, there is no ceiling here. You can outbid other teams as uncomfy as you want to get. You can go there if you'd like to. And Dallas was like, we're not that far away from seeing $40 million a year players. I'm like, shut the fuck, 40? Yeah, no fucking way. And you've got a few guys that are making 40. I mean, Alex Bregman is signed a 3-year, $120 million contract, $40 million a year with opt-outs after every single year. And Alex Bregman, who I love, I mean, we're not talking about the best player in the league. We're talking about one of the very good players in the league. Mm-hmm. So we got to like 40, not even being the top of the top pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly. And quickly. It's not even the fact that is no longer reserved for the elite of the elite of the elite in the game. It's the fact that it happened as quickly as it did, that we got to a point where, hey, we don't need to, and I'm not calling Alex Bregman, outside of the top tier, but you don't have to be the best player in the game to be garnering a contract like that. And yeah, it's just crazy how quickly we got here. And to your point, the fact that there are multiple layers or multiple tiers of players that are being compensated as such.
I think the other part of it is, as teams, and we have all this data on players aging, and the prime years of players' careers has now shifted downwards. You would think like age 32 season is like the end of a player's prime. And it's like, buddy, like they've been out of their prime for a minute now by that scale. So with baseball, yes, you look at a player like Alex Bregman and it's like, I'm not giving you $40 million a year because I think that you're worth $40 million a year. I'm giving you $40 million a year so that I don't have to pay you when you're 37. That's why I'm doing it.
And so this now takes us into a point in our game where things like that have never been more important. You want to know why? Because we're getting ready to collectively bargain an approach to how players are compensated in the next 2 years. And so right now, if we all understand and know that what the commissioner is after, what the ownership group is after, is a salary cap, what have I talked about since we started having this conversation is speeding up the window through arbitration and to free agency so that those players who haven't been identified as the Jackson Churio types, where you're forking over that kind of money that early without having any sort of proven track record at the big league level. Well, if you're not a player who's going to garner the $100+ million deal while you're in AA, but you can get to the big leagues, there's a high likelihood that you'll get to the big leagues. What we now need to start entertaining is, buddy, you're not going through 3 years of control and then 3 years of ARB, and then you're a free agent in the 7th year. You're going to spend 2 years under control. You will spend 2 years going through arbitration, and in your 5th year, you will hit free agency. Maybe that number is even reduced more if they're willing to go to a floor cap type situation. But that's the conversation, in my opinion, and based on what I've heard and what I know, that's the conversation that needs to happen. And it has never been a more apropos time to have those conversations loudly. So for the individuals who do what we do in this space, if you really give a shit about growing the game, or if you find yourself to be player friendly, dare I say fan friendly, this is something that you need to start diving into now if you care about it. And I'm not asking you to care about it as much as we do, but if you're going to want to have a feel for what's going on, I think you really need to start assessing how those compensatory windows look and how a player navigates through those fields. That's going to be a very, very important topic of conversation.
Yeah, I've in talking to some folks around the game, it sounds like if there's going to be a lockout over a salary cap, it's not going to be this one. It's going to be the next CBA, because that's going to be like Rob Manfred's like mic drop. You know, like when he's
he's out of here after this one. So this one gets taken care of. He puts this one together. The next one, he's gone. He's gone at the end of this one.
Yeah. So like the one that's coming up in what, 26?
26.
Yeah. So then the next one would be 30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so Jared,
that's the one. He's gonna give you the salary cap and then get the fuck out. Like that's someone else's problem if the league goes to shit after that.
But even what could very well even also be on the table is the length of the CBA.
Yeah.
Getting away from just that 5-year window. That could also be something that's discussed, is because if we're now putting a cap in place, think about a college coach just coming into a scene where he has no players that he's recruited. He's probably trying to bring in staff, but what he wants is a runway. You're not bringing me in here for 1 or 2 years. I have no ability to establish a class, to establish a culture. I'm essentially just going to be plucking from the NIL or from the portal. So I need a runway. Give me time to build something here. And that's where the players come into play, and identifying players and do, things of that nature. So I think that is something that will also be considered is, hey, I'm going to need a pathway to operate. I'm going to have to show me how we can operate.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see a world where the players like union agrees to a salary cap or floor situation unless it's something that you just talked about, where it's like, all right, then let us get to free agency after 4 years.
And that's where a very real conversation can start to happen.
Well, that's when the fan suffers, because you think the Pittsburgh Pirates, like, it's like, all right, we have 6 guaranteed years of Paul Skeens. Now in the future, like, if we suck so bad that we get the number 1 overall pick and get a bona fide superstar, now that's 66% of what we would have had with this guy.
No, I mean, that's all. Again, I think there's a lot of different ways where this can be viewed in terms of, is there a competitive balance being established because these teams now have to spend X and can no longer spend Y. And again, I think some of the details will probably have to do with, can you defer money? How much money can be deferred? Or is that something completely and separate from the baseball dealings, right? If you have X amount of dollars and you are okay financially making these deals, well, we're not going to tell you how to move your money around. We're just going to tell you when and where you have to spend it in terms of the amount. From there, if you want to push it back, if you want to, like, that's up to you. So
yeah, now we kind of got like a little taste of it with the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes, where it's like, okay, if all things are equal here, then now it's going to come down to like a geography off and a tax break off. Yep. So like the places that are cold and shitty for most of the year, you're out. The places that tax the fuck out of millionaires, you're out. So yeah, like that doesn't seem very good for the fans.
You don't want to watch you don't want to watch the meddling Central divisions just fucking rise up and start kicking the fucking shit out of teams on the West Coast and the East Coast, because all these players are like, well, fuck it. You know what? I can deal with the summertime there. It's warmer. Sure, maybe it's a little humid, but it's nowhere near the tax of fucking New York or California.
The Rangers are going to get everybody. It's going to be like, yeah, they got a roof. They got no taxes. I can talk about my political beliefs and no one's going to judge me for it down there.
Texas is starting to look a hell of a lot better within about 10, 15 seconds, huh?
Yeah. Like, I can own 1,800 acres of land and pay 3 cents a year for property tax.
You can have a small and what is it? You could form a small and well-regulated militia.
Yeah. You can probably carry a gun with you in the dugout if you want.
Probably. Fuck that.
Yeah, Rangers
not in the dugout. I just meant over.
A nice little dynasty going if we ever get a salary cap and floor situation. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I didn't mean to take us off the side there early. But.
No, I feel like it's definitely a topic that needs to be brought up.
Well, I think about it, man, because I do. I think I talk to these players every day, and I talk to a lot of players all goddamn day. And I talk to young guys who are just happy to be in the big leagues and are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, even in a ballpark in Sacramento where they're like, well, I was here like a month ago, but I wasn't in the big leagues. Now I am here, and this is all right. Like they have thoughts about this. Even they're thinking about this. They're impacted by this, as well as the super vets that you talk to that have strong opinions and that have input in how these decisions are going to be discussed and made and gone over. So it's something that I think about, and it is, to your point about the fans, it's because I want to believe that we have learned our lesson and we don't want to cut the season or truncate any portion of it unnecessarily because of what that could mean in terms of the fan commitment. I just don't want to see baseball step on their own toes.
How did Nick Kurtz do last night, Dallas?
Single and a double.
Oh, so I fucking hit again then. Jayhay.
You hit again.
Yeah. So Don Rafaela benched, so he doesn't count. Story double.
Removed.
Yep. Nick Kurtz. Wow. Nick Kurtz pushing me across the finish line. Nope. He went 0 for 4.
Was that the game before? You sure? Oh, it was. Yeah, we only got, I think we got 4 hits last night, or 8 hits last night. That was the night before. I lied.
That's crazy, dude. You're the broadcaster for the fucking team.
Yeah, I just got the days mixed up. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I got 5 hours of sleep. And I got us 3 for 4
such
night
a
mixed
wild
up with
ride.
the night before. You got
0 for 4, 2 strikeouts.
You got, yeah, but the night before.
Night before, yeah, I don't think that they do like the carryover thing in the pick'em world. No.
Well, then what kind of fucking pick'ems are you putting together for these fans where you can't carry over? Sounds like you're a bit of an asshole when it comes to your picks.
I mean, I'm trying to win. This is really difficult when, you know, the broadcasters don't cooperate.
When I can't remember the line.
It's crazy.
I'm sorry. You
Dude,
know what?
You'll be back today. You'll be back today.
I'll be.
Feel
I
free to
shouldn't
put
have
that
left.
on me. You
That
feel
is on
free to
you.
put that one on me. All right.
It is on you. Yeah. You know how many people just got excited being like, yeah, I took Jared's picks last night. And
Well, they probably knew
I'm
that
a
they
winner.
were losers
Yeah,
at this point.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing
we
they
all
gave a
found
shit
out that
enough.
we were losers together.
No, I think you're probably the only one who found out this morning right now.
You should double down on the A's though.
I would.
Run it
Today.
back with Kurtz tonight.
Yeah, Kurt. Maybe just run back the. I mean, I don't know the whole thing, but
I thought
be
I thought
stubborn
part
about
of
it.
I thought part of oh you know what I just did. This is what I just
did you
did in
just
my
do?
brain. No. So and you're gonna understand this. Jayhay, do you remember the text that Jayhay sent me? That Jayhay sent asking who my pick to click was,
Yeah.
and I gave you the name.
Yes.
And did he not click? He did. He absolutely did. And so that's where I think that's what I thought you were searching for was a fill-in. And that's who I gave.
Got it. Because he had a double and a single. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
That's fine.
So that's where my brain was at 8:30 in the morning with 5 hours of sleep. That's what I was thinking about.
Holy shit. I didn't see Mitch Spence got to 5 homers allowed.
Stop.
Wow.
God damn it. All right.
God
Well,
damn it.
Yeah. Hey, the underdog pick, right, Jared? Pick him. The underdog pick. You pick him. You can pick him with underdog.
I might go against the A's tonight.
There's a good
JP
bucket.
Sears on the
Missed
bump.
that.
Well, hey, buddy, after the bullpen I just watched JP Sears throw, I don't know if that's wise.
No, I'm definitely going to take someone. Well, Ronnie's hurt. I probably would have went with him.
What do you mean Ronnie's
figure it
hurt?
Didn't look too hurt last night.
He just hit 2 fucking homers last night.
He's probably tired from all the homer hitting.
Hey, I legitimately, I was like, well, with the back tight, I'm not sure that the Braves staff is going to be too excited about him taking a whack. And I was like, well, fuck. All right. Guess that narrative's done.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, man. it
lots
sucked. And
to choose from today with the pick'em.
it was an
Lots to
absolute
choose from.
fucking
All right, so
tank.
I'll put that out after the pod. I'm feeling pretty good about a dub tonight. This one
Well, you
almost
can't
feels
just go
too
to it
easy.
right now?
Huh?
You can't just, you don't have anything off the top right now? I mean,
No,
you have access
I mean-
to the app.
I'll tweet it out. I'll tweet out my
Oh.
picks. I gotta sit down. I don't want to do research and run numbers in the middle of a podcast. That's irresponsible and rude, in fact. But Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower, at least for me, just on total basis. I know Dallas does other statistics, and you can pick from other statistics if you want to. I don't. I am strictly a total basis guy. Always
TB
will be,
king.
always have been. Yeah. The king of TBs. Tuberculosis king. That's me. Make sure you sign up with the promo code Jared. That's Jared to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared. I'm calling a big league ball game tonight, Dallas.
Hell,
Yeah.
let's go. Who do you
I
got?
might run it back with Ceddanne Rafaela will be in my pick'em tonight. I'll give you the first one. Ceddanne Rafaela is in there. Taj Bradley going up against the Sox. So I like that. I mean, Stroman's pitching tonight, so I might go up against him. He stinks. Maybe run it with Ronnie against a lefty. Yeah, lots to choose from. So, you know what? Maybe I'll include 4 players in my pick'em tonight.
Stop it. Well, you would
Yeah.
never. You don't have a hair on your ass.
No, I do. I might tonight. I might tonight.
Tonight,
Yeah.
I might.
Tonight.
I just might tonight.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Cat
I mean,
in the hat.
I mean, yeah. You know, we don't need to workshop it right here, but it feels like you're starting to get comfy with some of the names you're identifying.
Sure. Yeah, why not? I feel like the Dodgers are getting comfy in the loss column.
Oh, Churio, base hit, ball game. Freeland scores, and the Brewers win. They sweep the Dodgers.
It's been a tough road. For the Doyers. 6 straight losses, yeah.
Is it 6?
Yep.
Yes, that's right.
6 straight losses. That's some Red Sox shit.
Oh,
We've won
God.
6 straight. We've won 6 straight, but we've had some 6 straight losing streaks as well.
And that means the Dodgers have plummeted all the way to. Oh,
well,
no,
they're
it's
still in
5 game.
first place.
Still a 5-game lead.
Mm-hmm. Still a 5-game lead. Only because the Padres have come crashing back down to earth, and Rafael Devers, as Will Clark will call him, has cursed the Giants franchise. They have not done a goddamn thing since Rafael Devers has entered the Bay. The Dodgers are just fine.
I fucking love Will Clark. I fucking love that man. We don't need to do it again, but yeah, I love me some thrill.
That's your boy.
What is the Dodgers' problem? What is it? Are they done? Are they cooked? Jayhay, are you ready to call the Dodgers toast?
Some people are saying they're not even making the playoffs this year.
What do people think? I mean, their projected playoff had those odds had to have taken a massive hit.
Mm-hmm.
A massive hit. No?
Huge blow.
Oh yeah, they took a massive hit.
Are we starting to see this ship sink?
Dorks.
Are we
99.2% to make the playoffs?
Oh,
Not 100.
93.1 to win the division.
Nothing's in stone.
Yeah. It's not wrapped up yet.
Well, my actual answer, I have 2 responses. If we want to talk Dodgers, I think the most interesting thing to me, I don't think they're in trouble in any way. I think the one thing that we haven't really discussed in any depth, and maybe it's not for this pod, is the season that Mookie is having offensively.
Yeah.
And I think it's gotten to a point where, it's not just the power is down a little bit, and it's not, he's still a very valuable player. Nobody's saying he's not, but we're at 246, 316, 386. That's a 701 OPS. And he's got an adjusted OPS that's below the league average for the first time in his MLB career. This is just unlike anything we've ever seen. That's interesting to me, if it's interesting to anybody else.
Yes, but let's remember 2 things. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is this not the first full season that he has played exclusively at shortstop?
Yes, correct.
And this is also a season in which this dude lost, by his account, 30 fucking pounds or whatever it was?
Yep.
And, and still battled through it.
For sure.
And
not questioning his toughness. Yeah.
No. And it's not about questioning his toughness at all. And I was just going to say, take it from a guy who was probably more of a fucking pro rehabber than a pro ball player at times. You're working just trying to get back to like who you were at a certain point in time. You don't even have the opportunity to build on who you once were because you're no longer that player in that moment. You lose 30 pounds, the fast twitch, the mass, the recoverability, like all of those things have taken a huge hit. And instead of chilling on the shelf and trying to figure shit out or whatever, he played baseball. He played baseball and he's played through and trying to get back to who he was like at the beginning of the season. So again, no chance to build on that player that you were. It's just an effort trying to get back to being that player. And it's in a big league season. It's during the season. So, and there's just not, I don't care who you are, the margin for error when you are not that type of player, like I don't even know how to equate it because we don't know. I mean, I guess we could take a look at like what bat speed, exit velocity numbers and see if there's a correlation, if there is a slide, if those are down by any, by any noticeable margin. And if so, then maybe you might start to be able to extract, some reasons, or you might be able to identify some reasons why he hasn't been the offensive juggernaut that he has been the entirety of his career. But I do think those first two things I mentioned are things that you have to consider, is the demand of the position that he's playing now every day, and the fact that he was going through a major illness and was just never given time to fully recover without having to go through the rigors of preparing, playing, and recovering in Major League Baseball games. That's just something that I cannot just put off to the side and go, so this is who we have now. Like, I have to consider that.
It's absolutely first paragraph stuff when talking about Mookie Betts' 2025 season. No question. And you may be right that it's just a situation where he's chasing his tail the whole time physically and can never keep his head above water at the standard that we're talking about for Mookie Betts, of course, because the standard that he's currently producing is still one that the Dodgers really, really want on the field, and is a multi-win, borderline all-star type of player. But like, you are at some point judged against your own standard, right? And not just the standard of, are you a good player still? And for Mookie Betts, the standard is Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players of his era. And as recently as 2023, we're talking about a legitimate MVP candidate and a guy who had a 987 OPS. And we're talking about basically 200, 300 points lower than that this season, almost 300 points lower. And that, even if there are myriad explanations for it, and everything you said, to the extent that it matters, I agree with. But it's still his age 32 season. It's still a season where the Dodgers are trying to win a World Series, and it's still a year where you would expect prime Mookie Betts, even if we knew that it was just a blank slate. So like, it's the fourth largest, just to put a stat on it, it's the fourth largest year-over-year decline in OPS in Major League Baseball for anybody with any semblance of quantity in either season. Michael Harris, Brenton Doyle, and Marcell Ozuna are the only ones with larger year-over-year decreases. And this is one of the greatest players that any of us have ever seen. And like, do I think that prevents them from winning the World Series or the division? Absolutely not. But I do think it's kind of an interesting statistical situation, and even more complex because of all the reasons that Dallas outlined.
Yeah, and I think for Mookie, ultimately, by the time we get to the end of the season, I got to believe he'll be a 3, maybe 3.5 win player at that point. And if that's the down year for Mookie, battling what I outlined and dealing with the adjustments that I outlined, then it feels like, I don't want to say you got away with one, but this will be the first time, Jayhay, since the first year he started receiving MVP votes regularly and was in the conversation, that he will finish. I don't know that he gets an MVP vote this year, right? And that will be the first time in how long that he hasn't received a MVP vote. Un MVP vote.
The last thing, at least for me on Mookie, is just that if he ends the season as something like what we're seeing right now, or continues to coast at not that he's coasting, but like just to crest at this level, I do think he's one of the most fascinating players entering the next season, because it's not like it was just last year and then an illness, physically induced decline that is easily explained. There was a year-over-year decline from 23 to 24 that was hard to ignore as well. Offensively, there was 124 points of OPS. So like, we're already talking about a guy who had taken a step back, again, very high bar offensively, went from 39 to 19 home runs. So what he is in 2026 is a 33-year-old, I think, is going to be a very fascinating question if this is something of a lost season offensively.
Look, hold on. Just so to that point again, and not to try to take one comment and plug it into this part of the conversation again, but in 23, isn't that when he started getting jockeyed around between the outfield and shortstop?
Yep.
And so now you have a player who again is starting that trek on, am I going to be this versatile utilitarian type almost? Am I the right fielder? Am I the shortstop? Am I a combination of both? Okay. And again, I don't want to say that, your defensive demand is going to impact your offensive output to the extent that we're talking about here, but that is something that is very real, because when you're in the outfield, sure, you're on your feet, but you are not moving around and you do not have near the responsibility that a middle infielder, let alone a shortstop, has. And so the physical demand there, whether or not that takes his legs out from underneath him, come July, August, September, when that wasn't happening in years past, only Mookie will know that. But the numbers will not be able to hide whether or not there's a lack of productivity or a decline in that productivity that you have highlighted.
Jared, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can we use this Dodgers slide as an opportunity to talk a little Brewers?
Yeah, why not? I mean, yeah, it was either or, both.
Yeah, because I think that's the much more interesting side to me outside of the Mookie stuff, is not that the Dodgers are losing, but that the Brewers swept them, and that the Brewers are in the position that they are in, like in the Central and in the NL position overall. I know that, they're the team that everybody underestimates year in, year out, like the NL version of the Rays, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think it is interesting that as we sit here on July 10th, they have doubled their odds to make the postseason since the start of the season, and currently sit a game and a half out of a division that I don't think anybody declared over officially, but I think that's kind of how people were thinking about it mentally in a lot of ways, at least maybe outside of Milwaukee. And it's very much not that. So I would be curious to get your guys' takes on the Brewers situation.
I do. No, you know what? I do think it was at one point in time almost a foregone conclusion that the Cubs were going to take this division. And what you've seen over the last week, I mean, what the Brewers have done over their last four, what are they, won 4 out of their last 5 or 5 out of the last 6 or something like that, right? Nice little run they've been on.
Yep, won 4 straight.
Yeah. And through that run, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the starters have all gone 6 innings, all yielded 1 earned run or less during that stretch. They've their newly minted all-star, McGill, was fucking lights the fuck out in that series. 3 games over those 4 games he's appeared in. Did not allow a hit. Punched out 7. Like that's a fucking solid way to get your all-star nod. But that's what's happened right now for the Milwaukee Brewers, is they've been playing fantastic baseball against the right teams. And I think against the right teams means you know who the Dodgers are, you know what they're all about. You know that the conversation has been, you're not competing with the Chicago Cubs. Well, how about we slap the fucking defending World Series champions across the face for a weekend and see how we're doing.
Passan has said that the Brewers are 1 big bat away from being World Series contenders. Do you believe that to be true? And who is the 1 big bat? Is it Ryan O'Hearn? Like, are they a Ryan O'Hearn away from being World Series contenders? Because I don't see the vision. Who's the 1 big bat? Is there 1 big bat that puts them as far as World Series contender? And we also need to understand the difference between World Series contender and World Series favorite, which I know some people are saying 1 big bat away from being World Series contenders. Like, that doesn't mean that they're World Series favorites, even out of the National League, just a contender.
I mean, do the Brewers strike you as a club that is willing and ready to go out and make that pursuit?
No, it's not really been their MO. Like getting someone like an O'Hearn, yeah. But like the big splash, no.
And that's where, like, I hate to put the Brewers in this category, but if they're at where they're at right now and in the division, which is what, a game out?
Game and a half
out. So you're a game and a half out of the division. And I'm sure that's going to probably stay the same, roughly a game or so, give or take, by the time the All-Star break comes and goes. And so now you're thinking about, all right, we've got 2 weeks, a little less, to make a push to the end of the month till the deadline. What would be a comfortable place for the Brewers to be setting at in that moment for them to decide to make a splash as opposed to just dip their toes in the water? Would they need to be leading the division by the end of the month? And does that spur them along? Or does that almost give them the same comfort that they have right now, which is we're competing. We're competing with what we have internally. Who's to say we need to go and spend more to be right where we're at? And especially if we're going to be jockeying with this club here through the remainder of this season, don't we feel pretty good about our prospects of getting into the postseason through the wild card route? Or do we need to go spend that kind of money? Do we need to take on a contract? Do we need to let go and say goodbye to prospects that we feel like might be able to make an impact in the next few years just to chase our tail for what? A division win as opposed to a wild card berth?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of look at it like this Brewers regime. If you didn't make the big move when you had Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff and Freddie Peralta, like you had, and like Josh Hader was your closer, when you had that pitching staff and you didn't make the big splash for the big bat, what makes me think that you would make a big splash for a big bat with this group? I mean, like the Brewers are a very good team. Like I don't disagree with Jeff Passan. Like the Brewers should be taken seriously, no doubt. But I'm speaking just on their behavior in the trade market. It's like the CC Sabathia trade was a long time ago, brother. We're talking almost 20 years ago at this point. The Christian Yelich trade, like trading for Yelly was not the ripple effect, groundbreaking trade that we think it was with the revisionist history. He became an MVP type player once he got to Milwaukee. Well, he was not an MVP type player at the time of the trade. And of course they paid him as such. So like that factors in terms of like their willingness to make a big move, but strictly just trades. Like when is the last big Brewers trade?
Well,
that wasn't the player in question, the good player going out.
Well, and even the Sabathia trade, which is obviously a legendary trade for the Brewers front office, he was a pending free agent, right? So there was no money owed to him beyond that season. So even that was, comes with a little bit of a caveat as well. Like I saw one national publication or rumor front office insider guy, I believe, pose like a Bregman to the Brewers scenario if the Red Sox were, I don't know, I didn't click on the link, but the idea on its face seemed ludicrous for all the reasons that you just outlined, even if the Red Sox wanted to do that, because it's like, when have the Brewers accommodated a payroll of that magnitude, even for an in-season move, let alone on a multi-year deal? And then there's just the reality that, like, yeah, we can scoff at Ryan O'Hearn as being that big bat, and I had the same reaction. I think he would make them better, but I think that's a fair reaction. But you look around the league, and it's like, to your very initial question, who is the bat if it's not Ryan O'Hearn? And I think you quickly realize there are very, very few genuinely available bats who are definitively better or maybe even as good as Ryan O'Hearn. Every other name that you come across is either worse or is in a situation with their team where the team is going to have to be bowled over to trade that person. And at that point, it's like, well, what are we
think
doing?
About, I mean, we got a fellow that's going to the All-Star game for the Athletics, who I know whose name has been ballied about at times.
Trying to trade Brent Rooker to the Brewers?
I am absolutely not trying to trade Rooker.
You want him off the team?
I do. I would do a lot
That's
of things.
That's a hell of a quote card.
I would
Baseball
do a lot of
is
things
dead.
that
A's broadcaster Dallas Braden says, quote, get the fuck out of Sacramento to Brent Rooker.
Rook knows significantly better than he knows much better.
He's just finding out very different story here today, as am I. I thought you were a big Rooker guy, but go ahead.
I'm a huge Rooker guy, but like you plug a guy like that in, and now what does that do to? I mean, Yelly, the guy who's man in the DH spot, right?
Oh, I mean, Rooker would be awesome, but to me, he falls in that category of what the hell are the A's going to ask me for Brent Rooker right now? Like, and
Churio.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then it's like a respectful, obviously, quick hang up, maybe even a disrespectful one. But yeah, I don't know. I'm Jared asked whether they're World Series contenders or one big bat away. I think they're maybe even only a Ryan O'Hearn away from being a legitimate World Series contender. I think my feelings on the rotation specifically have changed that dramatically. And it's a lot of names that weren't in the rotation to start the season. And I do think the overall picture here is good enough. I don't think they would enter as the favorites, as they typically do not. But I think the NL Central got a lot more compelling in a hurry because I think they're a much more legitimate threat to the Cubs than the Cardinals ever were during the Cardinals' best play earlier this season.
For anyone that isn't up on their Orioles baseball or doesn't play fantasy and isn't aware about what Ryan O'Hearn is doing this year, he's hitting 286. He's getting on base at a 378 clip, and he's slugging 562, which not a career high. He slugged 480 in 2023. It's an 840 OPS. It's a 138 OPS plus, which would be a career high. 11 homers, 13 doubles. So for all the talk about, the Brewers' big weakness is their power, Ryan O'Hearn and his 11 home runs, that's the answer. I mean, 840 OPS is great. Like a 138 OPS plus, that's great. Very happy with it. But I mean,
to Jayhay's point, where do you think you're going to find fucking 25 homers laying around right now?
25, you're probably asking a lot.
So then I'll ask you, I'll take it a step back. What's the line of demarcation for us to be able to refer to this individual as a big bat?
Well, I think in this market, he qualifies. I honestly do. I just think that the market, for as bad as the pitching market may be or as uninspiring, I just think it's a lot more exciting than the reality of the position player market, unless some teams get serious about trading players that have to this point been viewed as core guys. And I'm being a little bit unfair in this response to Jared, but the issues are homers with the Brewers. They're 23rd in baseball with 89 homers. They're 22nd in slugging percentage. So to me, I just want a guy who is going to be an offensive asset. And I think, I think Ryan O'Hearn qualifies as that, even if the homers are, he's going to end up with homers in the low 20s instead of, the mid 30s or something like that. Like you would love to add, but I don't want to sacrifice a flawed player to be able to accomplish just more homers. They're going to be more pitchable in the playoffs. You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
I think the other way that you could look at this is like, okay, I'm going to trade for Ryan O'Hearn because I feel like I'm acquiring a not guaranteed entity, but a guy that's having a good offensive year this year. Whereas if you look around the rest of the league, it's like, do I want to roll the dice on like a change of scenery benefiting a Luis Robert? Do I want to bank on a change of scenery benefiting a Marcelo Zuna? There are right-handed power bats that you could acquire that aren't Ryan O'Hearn, but they're not exactly having great years this year. But it's not like I don't know that either of those guys are cooked.
How big of a flyer would it be to knock on the door of the Halos and ask about Joe Adell?
I think it's a totally reasonable question from the. I don't think the Angels should be unwilling to move him, and probably are just straight up willing to if the price is right. But to me, all of the guys that were just named, I'm coming back to O'Hearn and I'm calling the Orioles.
How about, I'll throw a sleeper name in there. How about Mickey Moniak?
I'm calling the Orioles.
Mickey Moniak has been crushing you want to talk slugging percentage? He's been crushing righties. I don't know how much attention you've been paying to the Colorado Rockies this year, but Mickey Moniak has been like a top of the league performer against right-handed pitching this year.
I'm fine if I'm a contending team and my GM goes out and gets Mickey Moniak for my bench. I think that's a fine place for him. I'm a little concerned that it's a little Coors driven in his splits and his performance, but to me, I just think, I don't know. You said it. He's a more complete, he's a more proven hitter. I want nothing to do with Luis Robert if I'm a serious team with serious aspirations mid-season at this point.
Especially after those Clint Frazier comments.
What about the guy? What about the guy going to the All-Star game that Jayhay once removed from Major League Baseball? The guy that Jayhay would like to have his arms and legs cut off, treat like a fucking shark out in the ocean, and just turn him into shark.
You would never trade the centerpiece of your marketing campaign as your brand new All-Star, your franchise tent pole. Is that what you're suggesting?
Wow.
Because that's why he's in the All-Star game, right? To help with the Marlins marketing and to give them something to build around. Except when they trade his ass within 12 months, minimum, maximum 12 months.
All right,
yeah,
so
fine.
Jared, here's
here's
the pool of guys.
He would be a bet.
Yeah, he'd be a better fit, right? He'd be a better fit. So here's your line of what I'll call the demarcation dudes. All right. Seiya Suzuki, Eugenio Suarez, Kyle Schwarber, Ohtani, Judge, and Raleigh. Those are the guys with 25 or more homers this season. I don't know that any of those guys are going to get moved. I feel like
Suarez could get moved.
So you know what? You're right. Suarez could absolutely get moved. But I don't see anybody else on that list getting moved. There's a fellow right behind him by the name of James Wood.
Ooh,
with 24.
I see. I feel like that's more of like an off-season trade, but
no, fuck that. Why? This is the conversation we're having. Milwaukee, get your shit together, put the package together, and go get you Woody. Go get you a fucking guy. You want a guy?
Yeah, but like if you're the Nats
that can
first
move
of all,
the needle.
No. If you're the Nats, you are an organization and in transition right now. Like you don't have your shit together. Like I know that there aren't a ton of Nats fans, but I would never forgive the organization if they just rushed to put together a James Wood trade just to fit it in before July 31st. Like now you're trading with teams where it's like, all right, yeah, like I'm in it this year, so I'm trying to go for it versus like I think he's quite an interesting trade conversation topic for the offseason. Like I would consider that.
But see, like if you're a team, look, and I'm just
wait a second.
This is
sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, the business side of this for me, like if you want to talk about business and baseball and sport and how I would be, the Nats would know every one of my burner numbers by now. They would see each one of those numbers pop up and go, well, it's fuck, you know who it is. Calling again from a different line. Because you are as vulnerable as you've ever been. You don't have a fucking manager that you're confident in. You don't have a GM situation that you're confident in. You've got you to your point, you don't have much in place right now in terms of
you don't
culture,
have your shit
direction
at all.
This is how we want to do it. Like you don't have that. So if you are a team that is looking to move forward, I don't know how you're not circling the Nats right now. I don't know how you don't look at the Nats like a carcass on the Serengeti and you are just fucking overhead, just waiting to make that slow descent down to the carcass and start plucking at that motherfucker. Give me a liver. Give me some lung matter. Give me something. I'm taking everything I can. I want to know. Absolutely. I want to know where you're at.
What is the point of being a fan of a team, specifically the Nationals, if the life cycle is trade Juan Soto for a package that's fronted by James Wood, see James Wood turn into a superstar, trade James Wood. Like
Masochism. That's it.
Yeah, I'm out. If I'm just straight up out at that point, if I'm a Nats fan, like there is no, let's see what the return is. There is no, give this new front office a chance. God bless you if that's your stance. But like to me, you can't let Harper walk. You can't let trade Soto away and then see James Wood become one of the most exciting players in all of Major League Baseball. And I mean, I said it on the last podcast. I think they are so far away that it may become a conversation. I'm not saying that you get the idea that you guys are talking about is bad. I'm saying that if I'm a fan of the Nationals, I cannot tolerate that and I won't tolerate it.
That's fair.
Got to sign him. You have to sign him long term.
And the Nats have at least proven that they will put the money on the table. It's never accepted, but they do put the money on the table.
Yes. Although I just and this is a little hold on.
Don't let the Rizzo $300 million deal in the 11th hour contribute to that thought, because that was just mechanic.
I'm talking about the Soto offer. I mean, he beat it by quite a bit, but at the time we're talking
by quite a bit.
At the time it was 440 or something like that. Like he basically doubled it up, but 440 for a fucking 22-year-old was pretty generous, I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, they had a pretty good idea of who this. They were pretty confident they had an idea of who this kid was going to turn into.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up. I want to shout out the Discord quickly because since we're on the Nats and the James Wood stuff, because
they
would
brought shout him out.
Yeah, I would. Well, respect. And so they brought up a few pieces of interesting context off of the original Nats conversation, the Rizzo firing and all that I thought was interesting. Very quickly, I won't belabor them. One, the Lerner ownership group is apparently going through, or I was reminded that they are going through a lot of dysfunction and like kind of passing of the hands and squabbling for power. And that has kind of disrupted what was otherwise generally a very stable ownership team over the preceding, 15, 20 years. I do wonder, Dallas, you mentioned the willingness to issue, or whoever mentioned the willingness to issue the contract. They've obviously issued lots of big contracts, some of which are like Strasburg, Scherzer, a couple others. They were signed by those players and played for those teams. I do wonder how much of that is actually applicable to the team moving forward. And then secondarily, in terms of why they've moved on from Rizzo, I do think we sort of hinted at one part of this, but they shared a chart that I thought was interesting. Position players drafted by each MLB team since 2012 in terms of their combined wins above replacement. And the Nationals are so far behind every other team that it's not even, they almost don't belong on the same chart as everyone else. So they have really not developed or identified hitters in any way. And then DeBartolo, the guy who is taking over for Rizzo, I believe it was The Athletic, had information that apparently he was the one who pushed most strongly and conceived of the Juan Soto trade and the people that they should target in that trade. So maybe after the fact, maybe in reality, but that man is now being given credit for the James Wood, Mackenzie Gore trade that we were talking about earlier, that has been maybe the only really, really bright spot of the Nationals acquisition team over the last post-World Series title run. And apparently that doesn't belong to Mike Rizzo either. So I did think that was interesting. Shout out to the Discord, doing great work.
Shout him out. Classic Discord shout out from Justin Haven. You would. Unfortunately.
I would. Nothing but class.
You would. Get it? Like James would?
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do the same thing on this podcast that I did last night by rewording this ad read.
Nice.
Because it's a little strong in the beginning. It's the dog food one.
Yeah, that caught me the first time I read it too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little aggressive. So I'm going to add some paraphrasing at the beginning, but we're still going to land the plane the same way. Because the message is important. I think it's about the delivery. The thing about our pets, our dogs, they do unfortunately experience some health complications along the way, which sucks because we love our dogs. We love our pets. But there are ways that we, their puppy parents, their owners, we can guide them in a healthier way. And that is why Dr. Dennis Black created Rough Greens. Here's the good news. With thousands of testimonials and 5-star reviews every month, Rough Greens is now the #1 all-natural dog supplement in America. They have helped millions of pups, like mine, stay active and be healthy. And your pup could be next. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens. Fetch a free Jumpstart trial bag for your dog today. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com and use the promo code BID. That's RUFF greens.com, promo code BID. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens. What else do we have? Obviously, we have Family Feud today. Oh, the Juan Soto comments. Speaking of Juan Soto.
Got it. Yeah. Got to talk about this and the Boone stuff as far as I'm concerned. That's all that I care about on the rest of the rundown.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
So the internet just has no sense of humor anymore. I don't belong on Al Gore's internet anymore, but here's Juan Soto's comments.
Like to make the All-Star team?
What do you think?
I don't know. Some people want to take vacation.
I mean, I think it's a lot of money on the table if I make it.
So I believe he gets a $100K bonus if he makes the All-Star team.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are saying he was joking. Some people think he was being serious. Where do you guys fall?
I want to believe he's joking. I want to genuinely believe he's joking and trolling. Do we have? Is there video footage?
Yep.
Do we have a video of him? Because I want to see.
Yeah,
his
he didn't.
facial
I would say his facial reaction leans towards not joking. I'll send it to you guys. Yeah, I would say the facial reaction would lend itself to, I'm not joking about this.
See, I don't know. I hear it's a lot of money on the table if I make it. And I see the wry smile starting to form and then the clip is cut.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would love to hear a follow-up question after that. I would love to hear if he had anything to say immediately following that. But the clip gets cut right after he says it's a lot of money on the table. And he's like kind of smiling, starting to turn his head a little. I got to believe that he is well aware that folks have talked about, the luxury box and the flights and the clothing stipend, like, just the family allowance, basically. Like, I got to believe that he has caught wind of that to an extent. And everybody understands. He knows. Everybody's well aware. He signed a deal for, $750 million. And so it's almost funny, like, hey, man, it's $100,000 on the table. Like, you think I want to miss $100,000? It's a lot of money. And it's just wild that he can talk about it like that. And we almost aren't sure. Like, I don't know if he's joking. Like, because is $100,000 a lot to a guy who's going to make $750 million plus dollars? Probably not in the grand scheme of things. But if everything that you took umbrage with in those negotiations, which start with, does this guy really need flights for his family? Does this guy really need a luxury box? Is this dude really asking for a clothing stipend for his family? Like, is that what's really? Well, now you can almost point at those things and go, Yeah, he cares about the money. He absolutely cares about the $100,000. Yes. So part of me wants to believe that he understands the humor behind it if he wasn't serious. And the other part of me says, well, I don't know. We've got a track record of him wanting the bag. So why would it stop here with a $100,000 nod?
Jayhay, what's your read on this? Because I know you've been dying to talk about it. I
just think it's good stuff.
I think he's joking. I think he is probably at the point now where he's sick and tired of hearing about his money. I know it's only been a few months, but like, I'm looking at his contract right now. I don't see any. Oh, okay. Award bonuses. $500,000 for MVP, $1 million for each subsequent MVP. $350,000 for World Series MVP, $150,000 for Silver Slugger and LCS MVP, and $100,000 each for getting selected as an All-Star, winning a Gold Glove, Hank Aaron Award, all MLB first or second team. So it's $100K. Just cost him. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think he's joking and serious.
Yeah.
Go on.
I
Explain.
Oh, I mean, I think I don't think he's so obtuse as to not understand what he's saying and the environment that he's saying it in, or that there's been a lot of focus on his contract. I think he knows all of that and is playing into that to some degree. I also think he's a man who knows his money and who knows that he's not getting $100,000 because he was not selected to the All-Star game. And maybe that's not the first reason he's mad about it, because he's probably just mad because he looks at his season and says, I'm better than Kyle Stowers, but, or whoever, but I think Juan Soto is a man who hits baseballs very effectively, is one of the greatest players of all time, and is also very attuned to what happens to sit in his bank account at any given time. I think those things can coexist. I think he's joking and serious.
Yep.
Some people don't know. Very famous stories about Manny, right? And the way he treated or didn't treat money, or did or didn't cash checks.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. I don't think Juan Soto's doing that.
Ricky, it's one of the greatest stories ever. Ricky Henderson.
What, framing his check?
Framing his fucking paycheck.
Yeah.
Yo, Rick, just tightening up some accounting here at the end of the year. And you got $1 million laying around anywhere? Yeah, man, it's on my wall. Could you deposit that, please? We're just looking to tighten some things.
Juan Soto can opt out of his contract after the 2029 World Series, but the Mets can negate his opt-out by increasing his 2030 to 39 salaries from $46 million to $50 million.
To 50.
It's a lot of money. He's counting every penny. Good for him. I think we all kind of we strive to care that much about our finances.
Oh, well, about the finances. Sorry, I thought. Yeah.
Just about the finances, you know. This Aaron Boone quote is a little crazy. I'm gonna pull that up. I want to be. I didn't realize there was audio. He said this on a radio show.
Well, I believe it's Hinch talking about his conversation to Booney. Is my understanding.
Got it. The crux of it is the All-Star game starter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in fairness, it is a tough decision.
It is brutal.
Is it?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is and it isn't, right?
Well, it is. It is and it isn't for all of the reasons.
We have a new participant in the home run derby, Dallas. And his name is Brent Rooker.
Wow!
Yeah.
Imagine that!
Yeah.
Imagine that! Wow! It's almost like I knew, but I didn't know, but I knew. And I knew. I did. Well, I knew. I told you. Told you so. Told
Classic
you so.
Dallas, I told you so.
Classic.
Yep.
Vintage.
Oh, wow. You
Vintage
got one
Dallas.
about the team that you hang out with. Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Good entry into the Derby, though. Stroking Dallas aside.
Yeah.
That's another great one.
Yeah. All right. Here's the Aaron Boone predicament that he has had for himself.
So is Boone going to pick Fried? Or Scooble's got to start the All-Star game, right?
I don't know. I talked to Booney the other day, and I think he's, grinding through that decision. I mean, there's two things in play. I mean, one is Max Fried's on his team, and I think he pitches on Saturday, which, will bring a little bit of pause just because of the quick turnaround on Tuesday. The second part is Fried going back to Atlanta, where he enjoyed a ton of success. So that will complicate matters. And then you have Tarik Skubal, who's been the best pitcher on the planet. So I don't know what he's going to do. And I know it's bothersome because it's sort of a losing situation, no matter who you pick, if you're Booney. And I know Tarik has been very upfront about wanting to start, but also upfront that he's not going to be offended if he doesn't get picked. He knows the kind of the big picture, things that are important. And if he gets the recognition, great. If he doesn't, I don't think you'll hear, a ton of complaints out of Tarik. He'll enjoy his All-Star break and he'll go to the All-Star game, but may not pitch if he doesn't start.
AJ, what are those conversations like? Is Boone saying, all right, convince me. Why should it be Skubal? Obviously, he has two eyes. He understands it.
Yeah, no, they're not. It's not really about convincing him. I mean, I've known Booney a long time, and I think he's just got to process how to kind of go about it. And everybody's in his ear. I think that's the biggest thing is everybody has an opinion. Everybody thinks he should do one thing or another. And at the end of the day, like and I truly believe this, I would take care of my guy and whatever he wanted, I would weigh that heavily. I mean, you don't get in this position very easily. You got to get to the World Series and obviously you want to do what's right by baseball. And that's where I think things get complicated because I think Garrett Crochet's a good pitcher and Hunter Brown's incredible and obviously Skubal and Fried. So all of them are super talented. It's just how do you maintain, kind of your own mojo with your own players
I mean, let me stop him right there. Do you really think Max Fried and Aaron Boone's relationship would suffer if Aaron Boone started Tarik Skubal in the All-Star game over him? Max Fried is having an outstanding year, but he is not perennially this, sure, maybe that's more grounds to start him. It's like, all right, I'm having a great year. I'm never usually this good. Skubal is going to get to start the All-Star game all the time. Maybe give me the start, Skip. But I know Max Fried well enough to know that he is going to sit there and say, this guy's the best pitcher on the fucking planet. There's absolutely no shame in not being the All-Star game starter because this guy is in the same league as me.
There is zero. And when I say zero, I mean zero statistical support for anybody other than Tarik Skubal to be starting this game. Zero. It is Tarik Skubal's game to start. The only reason that he does not start this game is we factor in the romance aspect of baseball. So to AJ Hinch's point about trying to do right by baseball, well, who are we talking about? If we're talking about the fans, do the fans want to see Tarik Skubal's 100-mile-an-hour fastball and the dominance that he has brought forth each and every start over the last 54 plus starts? Do they want to see that squared off against the National League's best? Do they want to see the Skubal-Ohtani matchup to start the game? You bet your ass they do. Are they clamoring for the Max Fried-Ohtani matchup? No, they are not. They just simply are not. Okay. So from there, now we do have to factor in the romantic aspect of this decision. And that is that Max Fried accumulated 23 WAR over his time in Atlanta. A very impactful player in Atlanta. He is going back to where it started. People who supported him, fans who helped propel him to where he's at today in New York with his manager who is leading the charge. So to your question about is the relationship going to suffer? Does that environment become turbulent because Aaron Boone decided to pick the clear-cut best option to start the game? No, it won't. But for a player like Max Fried to have gotten himself into a position where he could very well be starting the game, because this isn't a matter of, trying to parse through guys, and if you squint and close one eye and do a circle, you could see how Max Fried might be able to enter that conversation. That's not what we're doing here. He is a very, very viable candidate, and it just has to do with how you want to put a bow on this thing. How do we want to close the first half chapter? And is it with a nod to Tarek Skubal and the utter dominance that he has produced? Or is it kind of giving Max Fried that nod, that tip of the cap, like, hey, man, we know what you meant to Atlanta. We know that you deserve to be in the starting conversation. So we want you to go and enjoy the body of work. Enjoy what you've done with Atlanta, because now you're almost like, now you can ask, is Booney paying off the Braves fans right now? Like, is that what this decision was about? Was to consider the Atlanta Braves fan base? And Yankees fans don't get to see their guys start the game? Now, Yankees fans might be feeling some type of way. And it might be the easier way to avoid any sort of kerfuffle is to just give the baseball to the man who clearly deserves it statistically. And that's Tarek Skubal. And if you're talking about excitement, and if you're talking about who's going to want to watch the first inning of the All-Star game and what that looks like, well, it's fans that are waiting for that Tarek Skubal matchup.
Not to jump back to a topic we just discussed, but this was yesterday. Who would we like to see?
What about a dude who has hit 30 plus in back-to-back seasons and is likely to have 20 at the break and is also heading to the All-Star game? He also happens to be wearing green and gold. I'm talking about a little teammate of yours, Jared, by the name of Brent Rooker.
Has he been in the Derby before?
No.
I think he would be good too.
There you go. There you go. Honestly, more
that.
credit to Jayhay. Like, Jayhay was the one that was like, I think he would be good in the Derby.
Well edited.
Yeah, that was a good point.
Really.
Good point by Jayhay.
Yeah. Great point by Jayhay.
Yeah. One more thing before we get to Family Feud. And we've got some, little other topics that we can hit on the other side that are of lesser importance. But Major League Baseball is going to be using the ABS system during the All-Star game, which I think is the perfect introduction, right? It's an exhibition game. It's one night, and the Major League Baseball All-Star game is the most watched All-Star game of any of the professional sports. So you're going to have the game's brightest stars. You're going to have fans paying attention. If they weren't watching minor league baseball or the Atlantic League and they didn't see ABS and they've heard about it, but they don't know how exactly it's been used, this will be a nice little introduction to it. And Passan made the same observation about the pitch clock. When the pitch clock first was introduced, it was, you're ruining the game and this and that. And now you never even hear about it. No one says a word about the pitch clock. The only thing that I say, at least to myself, about the pitch clock is thank God for the pitch clock, because now I get to go to bed earlier. Like these games, it's like it's a perfect pace. The length of games are so digestible on a nightly basis. I know that I'm going to get the perfect amount of baseball. It's not this marathon every single night where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm still watching the same game. So we don't hear about the pitch clock anymore. And I'm pretty sure that after a full season of ABS, we're not going to notice that. I mean, we will notice because players will still be challenging balls and strikes and what have you. But in terms of having any type of sentiment that the game is ruined and it's so much longer now and the breaks in the action, like you won't feel that way after a full season of watching it.
What changes though is the aesthetic. And let's start with, yes, the All-Star game. And look, I'm not gonna I'll say this much and I'll tell you guys offline about it. But this feels like it's the first public, forward-facing, acknowledged experimentation that is occurring at the major league level. Everything we've known about the rules and the potential implementation of different approaches has occurred through minor league baseball, independent leagues, of the like. Never at the major league level. But there is actually something going on right now in the big leagues that I promise you there's a lot of folks who are unaware of. And it's happening. And it's experimentation at the big league level. And they are getting, I don't want to say they're getting the results they're after, but the experiment is operating wonderfully. And now fast forward back to this moment in time, the aesthetic is what will change about the game, not just from a all-star experience, but now just take yourself into a situation where it's the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, full count. The guy is set up, the catcher is set up down and away because they want to throw a 3-2 slider down and away. And that slider backs up and it's a right on right matchup. And so now you have your catcher who's set up away, who has to reach back over the plate to the inside part of the plate and catches a slider very sloppily, almost open-handed, forehanded. And that pitch does clip the ABS zone and a strike gets called. Maybe that pitch even gets dropped. And now you have that aesthetic to take on or to consume as a fan. You're probably sitting there going, what the fuck is this fucking terrible pitch? He was set up outside. No, remember, it clipped the line. So everything that you have been taught, everything that you have been trained to process visually, that's all going to change quickly. And it's just going to be a matter of how quick you as a consumer get used to just negating the setup of a catcher, the framing of a catcher. And this is what I've been saying since the beginning of this conversation, is what you will notice about this change is how it impacts the catching position and how much more offensive demand is placed on the catching position, because you will simply feel really good about just sticking somebody back there who can slow it down. Just knock the baseball down is all we're asking of you. You don't have to dress anything up. There's no framing metric here to grade you on anymore. Can you catch and throw a little? I mean, with the negligible activity on the base path, might not even care about whether or not you can throw, unless you're somebody who just can't throw at all. But that's where you'll see the change. But in terms of introducing it into the right moment for fans to digest and go, oh, this is what it would look like? Well, here you go. For anybody who's just going to be casually watching baseball at any point in time during the summer, it very well could be the All-Star game. And if you get a taste of it in the first 2 innings as a casual fan, that may be all you need for you to determine, you know what? Oh, this is kind of cool. Or, you know what? I don't like that at all. But you're going to find out quickly.
We're also going to find out quickly that the discourse has done everything in their power to fuck us, Dallas.
They can try.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the ABS before we get fucked over here, Saddam? Nothing.
Hit it.
So ready.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to Baseball is Dead Family Feud, the Pain Train version. Honestly, the Discord took it easy on you guys. This path is not nearly as difficult as I personally would have crafted it to be. but I don't manipulate the responses. So if you guys win, if you guys win this one, which many paths to victory, really not even an atypically difficult path here. So if you guys lose, it'll be entirely your fault, is what I'm saying.
Wow.
We have Jared leading off and Dallas closing. Dallas is reliable as a Jose Mesa in October. Pop that top, baby. Gently. All right, Jared, the only warning I'm going to give you, these are not long questions generally. One of them is a little long, but two of them have nothing to do with baseball.
Okay.
So stay on your toes there.
Cool.
Totally random. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Jake, are you ready? All right. Out of 100 BID fans, and thank you so much to the Discord, here are the results. Question number 1. Of the people we know in the Derby so far, so this question does not include Brent Rooker, okay?
Okay.
Who should be considered the favorite to win?
O'Neal Cruz.
Question 2. Between Gala, Granny Smith, Honeycrisp, Fuji, and Macintosh, what is the best type of apple?
Macintosh.
Of the following second place teams, which do you have the most confidence in this season? The Mets, the Yankees, the Brewers, the Mariners, or the Giants?
The Mets.
Question 4. The Dodgers have lost 6 straight. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being as cool as a cucumber and 10 being as agitated as a queen bee when Dallas sticks his finger in the honeycomb, how concerned are you about the 2025 Los Angeles Dodgers?
1.
Last question. Name the 5th president of the United States.
John Quincy Adams.
Thank you, sir. Remember, it doesn't necessarily matter if you get the question correct. Dallas, pop the, wherever Dallas is, pop that. Let's see what we got here.
I was wrong.
All right, let's see here. Where's Dallas?
Yep, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, you back? Yeah, I can hear you.
I was off by 1, Jayhay. That's not bad.
It's not bad. Not bad at all. Dallas?
Are we good?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yes, I can hear you. Can
Yes.
you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Well, nobody fucking said anything. Or
all I was doing was
moved.
saying
I
stuff.
can't fucking hear you guys. Fucking.
So you can hear us though.
Well, I can now. Yeah.
All right, great. Okay. Do you want to know the exact total that Jared got?
Yeah.
138.
Okay. All right.
You need 62 to bring this home. Okay. The single largest answer, I won't tell you what it is, but the single largest point total is off the board. But there are several large point totals still on the board. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Of the people we know in the Derby so far. So, of course, this question was written last night. We did
O'Neal
not know
Cruz.
Brent Rooker.
Oh, well, hold on. What's the question?
Who should be considered the favorite to win?
Fucking Cal fucking Raleigh.
Thank you. Okay. Nice second attempt. Easier when you know the question. Question 2. Between Gala, Granny Smith, Honeycrisp, Fuji, and Macintosh. What is the best type of apple?
Fucking Fuji. Let's go. What are we doing?
Of the following second place teams, which do you have the most confidence in this season? The Mets, the Yankees, the Brewers, the Mariners, or the Giants?
Ooh, the Mets. The fucking Yankees. Fuck it. Oh, I don't like that.
Question 4. The Dodgers have lost 6 straight. We talked about it on this podcast. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being as cool as a cucumber and 10 being as agitated as a queen bee when Dallas sticks his finger in the honeycomb, how concerned are you about the 2025 Los Angeles Dodgers?
Fucking 1. Come on. What the? Fucking 2. That's trash.
Name the 5th president of the United States.
Oh. Monroe. Right? Fuck. I just watched Jenny do this on the fucking video board. That's the only reason I don't know.
All right. Let's all settle down.
What did he say?
Monroe.
Oh, okay. I thought he said row. I was like, what?
Is that right? I don't even know his fucking. She was fucking singing it in the booth, and then she did it.
The worst part about that question, Dallas, is it doesn't matter if it was right. It's if other people know it. Like I almost said Abraham Lincoln because I was like, I feel like the voters are gonna be like, oh, 5th on the number of the $5 bill.
See?
It's Lincoln.
This is the kind of fuckery that hypocrite Hussein is throwing around here. Is there's no pathway to that. That's just complete and utter fuckery.
Oh, there's no pathway. All right, let's find out. Let's see what sort of pathway you've built.
Hold on,
here.
was I right?
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Yes.
We're gonna find out about what
Okay.
you got right and what you got wrong.
Oh,
all right?
You know what? I'm sensing a little that look on his face. Jared, play the fucking music because we just fucking won this bitch. That look on Hussein's face, I've known that look before.
My input is yes, you named the correct 5th president, but that's not to say that the voters knew that that's the 5th president. So like I said,
works.
I know, I understand. I'm not saying that you're fucking us. I'm saying the voters might be dumb. That's okay. Go ahead.
Well, Harry Carey. That's my fucking answer.
All right. 138. You needed 62 entering this. Let's see whether you're able to accomplish that. All right.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Or was it Madison?
Okay.
Fuck. Now I'm hearing Madison in her head.
Question 1. Of the people we know in the Derby so far, who should be considered the favorite to win? Dallas said on a second attempt, Cal Raleigh. That was the number 1 overall answer with 34 votes. So you get a massive percentage of the votes that you needed so far in question number 1. You're down to only 28 remaining. Okay. Good job.
Feel so good about this.
James Wood, Ronald Acuna, Byron Buxton, and Junior Caminero. Buxton and Caminero got 1 vote each. Question number 2.
How many fucking votes did O'Neal Cruz get?
Oh, I'm sorry. 26. That was the number 2 answer. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Question 2. Between Gala, Granny Smith, Honeycrisp, Fuji, and Macintosh, what is the best type of apple? Jared said Macintosh. That was the 3rd most common answer with 10 points. Dallas said Fuji, of course. That was the 4th.
That won it.
What's that?
What? 4th?
That was the 4th most common answer with only
these fucking people eat apples?
Only 9 points.
Wow.
What's the number 1 answer?
Honeycrisp. 46 points.
Wow.
Honeycrisp?
Granny Smith, number 2 with 27.
No.
Wow. Dallas.
Fuji apple.
Dallas.
Always Fuji. Forever Fuji.
All right. Well, you guys only need 19 more. Probably no reason for you guys to cry in the end, but I guess we'll find out. Huh?
I have a fucking discourse and I will fucking bitch slap you. You guys fucking in for it.
Question 3, of the following second place teams, which do you have the most confidence in this season? Yankees, Mariners, Mets, Mariners, Brewers, or Giants? Jared said Mets. That was the number 1 overall answer, and the number 1 overall answer in this week's game, 62 points. Big time money there from Jared. That was almost 50% of your total. That's how you get the job done. Dallas, after a lot of panic, said the New York Yankees.
Well, I tried the Mets. They were taken.
Remember, you need 19 points. The Yankees will bring you most of the way there with 15 points. The second most common answer. You need 4 points. By the way, the Brewers were the third most common answer. Mariners and Giants lagging way far behind with only 7 combined between the two of them. The Dodgers have lost 6 straight, scale of 1 to 10. Dallas said 2. Unfortunately, very few people agreed with you on the 2. The good news is that Jared said 1. That was 25, the second most common answer. 3 was the most common answer. You were oh so close to having this all wrapped up with this question. But unfortunately, you said 2, and that's going to only get you 2 points. Yeah, I know. It's a tough one. That is 50% of the total that you needed. So you've left 2 points on the board with this final question remaining.
Oh,
and
no.
I am going to fucking snap. Don't. Oh, no. Fuck that. You fucking.
Yes. American civics about to be put to the test. Maybe Stockton civics as well. Dallas has stepped out of the room. He needs 2 points here on the 5th and final question. Name the 5th president of the United States. I'm going to get everybody listening a chance to think about that one again before I reveal the answer. Jared.
If the discourse fucks Dallas on this one when he actually answered it correctly, we will never see him again.
Jared said John Quincy Adams. That was a damn good effort. That was the 3rd most common answer. 15 points.
Wow.
Dallas said James Monroe. He needs 2 points. James Monroe is the correct historical answer, but
No.
But it's the number 1 overall answer. 23 points. He's done it.
Fuck you, Discord. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, God.
Oh, man. That's great. That was great. Good on you, Dallas, for knowing who the 5th president of the United States is under pressure. I think the vast majority of people would not. And in fact, only 23 of the 100 respondents correctly selected James Monroe, but he was the number 1. So you guys got 38 points on that question, which is a damn good work. You could have gotten way fewer points. Some examples that got single-digit points. Abe Lincoln. People a little early on Abe there.
What's he?
But nevertheless, Thomas Jefferson,
60.
Andrew Jackson, Carlos Narvaez, George Washington, Jerry Carabas, William Henry Harrison, Dallas Braden got a vote as well. Jake Yazzie, Justin Havens. Actually, all 4 of us got a vote, which is kind of cool. Jurgensen Profar. Macintosh got a vote. I think somebody was still locked in on the Apple question, perhaps. But anyway, congratulations to you guys for overcoming the sabotage and bringing home another title.
That's what we do.
mean, you handled that perfectly as a host. I thought for sure that it was going to be like, James Monroe, the correct answer, but only one vote.
I mean, honestly, I'm surprised that 23 people got it. I'm surprised it was that robust.
I tell you right now, Jayhay, I would have been inviting people from the discourse to the ball game today to catch hands, and I would have just punched them. Right, not a fucking not a gentleman's slap like we agreed upon. Just fucking a straight jab right to the forehead.
Yeah, that was great.
When I went to the Savannah Bananas game, there were multiple BID fans that were like, "Hey, is Dallas still doing like the punch a discourse member thing? Like, I volunteer." I was like, "You're gonna have to reach out to him for that. Like, I'm not gonna play middleman on this assault."
Yes, I am. You know what? What's today? Today's Thursday? Today's Thursday.
Thursday.
We have all night games, so I wonder if it'll be a fucking. You know what? Maybe I'll get somebody out for the ball game on Saturday. If you are a member of the discourse and you are a fan that is in the Sacramento region and you would like to come out and catch hands, just please DM me. Let me know. I will offer you two tickets, 2 field passes, because the person that you're bringing is going to be videoing me slap the shit out of you.
Wow.
That's it. That's it. And you know what? I plan on slapping you hard enough so when you come up in the 7th inning for a picture of the booth, the handprint is still right. I'm kidding. I'm not going to slap you that hard.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, you got to give him a little something.
Yeah. A little love tap.
Okay. Exhilarating round of Family Feud.
That was awesome.
As it usually tends to be.
Yeah.
Last thing for me that I want to hit on, the Yankees finally have designated DJ LeMahieu for assignment. He had 1 year left on his contract after this year.
22 mil,
basically,
right? 20 mil, 22 mil, something like that.
22, yeah. So I mean, he basically got to the point where he's like, "Hey, Booney, I can't even physically play third base anymore." So it's kind of hard to have a DH that can only hit singles sometimes, and so the relationship had to come to an end, unfortunately. You Yankee fans, you'll always have 2019. I keep seeing Yankee fans say, "We'll always have 2019. Thank you for 2019." You fucking lost. You didn't win anything. Thanks for 2019. Anyways, yeah, I mean, no, it was a good run. I had fun in 2019 because you guys lost. It was an awesome time. I had a great time in that postseason run. But anyways, end of an era. Aaron Judge's influence could only save him for so long. And the Yankees are moving on without DJ LeMahieu. Sad story. Good guy. Good guy. Batting title in both leagues. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there's an appetite for a DJ LeMahieu in our Lord's year of 2025. Maybe he catches on somewhere. I don't know. I'm taking it to the house if I'm him. I'm getting paid $22 million next year to do nothing. It's
that was what I was going to say. Is as painful as it is to be told to go home. Just perspective that I always share with these guys. You were so good at what you did and have been so good at what you have done for so long that unfortunately, it did get to a point where you were paid to go home, but you've been paid $22 million to call it a career, to be good. It's all good. Go home. We appreciate what you've done. Would we like to capitalize on that? Yeah, of course. But here's, in a world where you're being told that your services are no longer needed, for you to be able to produce over a length of time where that ends with here's 22 million out the door, just take some perspective. Just walk away feeling good about it. I know it's so much easier for a scrub like me to say, but walk away feeling pretty good about what you've done when the ticket home is a $22 million ticket.
Yep. Jayhay, any news stories you want to hit on before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'll save the DJ LeMahieu reminiscing for whenever he actually hangs it up. Yeah, I think this weekend, starting tomorrow, really, not so much today, is stacked with really cool stuff. Rapid fire, Scooble head-to-head against Cal Raleigh tomorrow night. That's the Apple TV game for people who are looking for it. But MVP candidate against MVP candidate, home run race, front runner against the best pitcher in baseball right now on one of the greatest heaters we've ever seen, as we outlined before. That's, to me, on the short list for potentially coolest kind of a pitcher-batter matchup as we have seen before. Not before in the game, but before this season. And given what Raleigh's trying to pursue, that's getting more and more real as we keep going. Like 36 at the break is just kind of an undeniable number in terms of where that sits on the home run race, kind of all-time trajectory leaderboard. So I just think that's worth noting. In lesser news, Paul Skeens against Joe Ryan is also on Friday. That's potentially noteworthy. Dodgers, Giants, and Cubs, Yankees both begin series this weekend. And Dallas, it's going to be front and center for you on Monday's podcast because you, sir, as you well know, are getting a up close and personal look at our Toronto Blue Jays this weekend.
Yes,
That's right.
Yeah,
they are. Yep, they are coming into town. Excited.
That's
about
exciting.
that.
It's exciting. Saturday, Ohtani back on the mound against the Giants, and DeGrom and Framber Valdez scheduled to square off in the Texas Showdown. That is on Fox again for anyone who wants to try and watch that. And then Sunday. Not that I am super plugged in to the MLB draft, but it is definitely something that I watch and take in for the event, and then get excited about the players that are drafted once they are on teams. So that is this Sunday. Jared, you've probably got some interest there, right? As being at the combine and having some level of personal investment or interest in some of these guys.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the draft. We made some content with Underdog with some of these guys, so we're gonna be rolling that out as well. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see, the first round. I'm more excited to see like the second round, to be honest with you. Like some of the names that improved their draft stock. And it's like, well, I think the difference between a fifth rounder and a second rounder is huge in terms of how you're viewed within an organization, in terms of what the payday is that you're taking home in the draft. So yeah, that'll be cool. That'd be cool to see where some of these guys go.
That's all I've got. In terms of extra stuff, I've got nuggets and final thoughts.
Yes, please, with the Nuggs, the award-winning Nuggs segment by Justin Havens.
Yeah, I think contractually we have to mention that they are award-winning now moving forward.
Yep, just a fact.
About that home run race, we last night, Eugenio Suarez and Kyle Schwarber in the afternoon, I guess, but both of those guys homered yesterday, which brings us to 3 players over 30, as we already knew, but 2 guys now at 29, which for those fans of arbitrary cutoffs, we have never seen 5 players with 30 or more homers at the All-Star break. We have only seen 4 players do it once. That was 1998, perhaps obviously, with Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Ken Griffey, and don't forget about Greg Vaughn, who was also there. So yeah, something to watch. Obviously, Schwarber and Suarez have several games remaining to get to 30. But either way, we've got a real race going on with Cal Raleigh doing his thing. I said that I was going to find it. I did. Dallas, Mitch Spence, youngest pitcher in A's history to allow 5 or more homers in a game. And he's the first to do so since Mike Fiers in 2019.
2019 against Houston.
And the 9th overall in franchise history. So Mitch Spence a lot better than I do. If he's the type of guy who, might find the silver lining in being the youngest in A's history to surrender 5 homers, maybe that's a nugget you could pass along today, or he'll hear it when he listens to the podcast.
That's true.
Yeah. Yankees, Jazz Chisholm. I mean, listen, quite the little season he's putting together. 17 homers and 10 stolen bases in fewer than 325 plate appearances before the All-Star break. Yankees history, at least since the All-Star break has been a thing. That's since been 1933. Mickey Mantle in 1959, Bobby Bonds in 75, A-Rod in 2008, and Jazz Chisholm this season. Junior Caminero is now up to 22 homers. You can see him in the Derby if you want. He's the 5th player in MLB history to have 22 or more homers by the All-Star break in his age 21 season or younger, joining Eddie Matthews in 1953, Jose Canseco in 1986, and Cody Bellinger in 2017. And if you want to look at just first half and not pre-All-Star break, Mel Ott did it in 1929 as well. Mike Trout, in terms of milestone watch, Mike Trout hit his 393rd and 394th homers last night. He passes Jim Edmonds into 63rd on the all-time list, obviously inching closer and closer to the nice round 400 mark. Did not mention it on the last podcast. Should have had it written down. Manny Machado reached 2,000 hits recently. He's the 5th active player to reach 2,000 career hits, joining Freddie Freeman, Jose Altuve, Andrew McCutchen, and Paul Goldschmidt. Next up on that list is Nolan Arenado, who currently sits 98 hits away. And those are the Nugs.
Shout out Nolan. Is he hurt? Because I was trying to like look through like Cardinals box scores and like he was playing pretty irregularly. I don't think he's on the injured list though.
I don't know.
Think he's been dealing with some shoulder stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to compare him to like what Breggy's doing. And Breggy's been hurt. He might be back. He might be back tomorrow.
That'd be big.
Could be back tomorrow. Yeah, Nolan played yesterday, but it's been very like sparingly. He's played in 2 games in the month of July.
Yeah, he played July 4th and then had 4 days off.
Yeah. He's played 2 games so far in July. So not on the injured list, but nursing something.
Not on the super healthy list either.
Yeah. Dallas, any final thoughts? Any last stories that you want to hit on?
No, I just want to tip my cap to a super veteran. We don't have a ton of those around our game. I appreciate them for what they have done, for their ability to persist and adjust and evolve throughout the course of their career. And, it's always cool to be able to say, or you hear guys talk about, you've done it hundreds of times, right? I've done it thousands of times. I've done it. Well, for Jesse Chavez, he has quite literally, as a professional, done it 1,000 times. Between the big leagues and his minor league appearances, he has compiled 1,000 professional games appeared in for Jesse Chavez. And it feels like 1,200 of those have been for the Atlanta Braves over the course of 36 different years. But Jesse Chavez, congratulations on a wonderful milestone of longevity and productivity. 1,000 ball games as a pro ball player.
Big time.
Yeah, I love me some Chavi, man. He's a great dude. For every pitch he doesn't throw, the impact is made just with his presence in the bullpen. And I mean, I will even go as far as to say his presence in terms of just life advice for guys, even outside of baseball. So a great addition. Don't know how long he'll be able to keep the uniform on, but you will definitely have to rip it off of him, which I love about him.
Tomorrow night, we're going to get Tarek Skubal versus the Major League home run leader. Dallas, do you have the fucking balls to say that Cal Raleigh is going to take Tarek Skubal to the moon on Friday?
That ain't fucking happening, pal.
Oh, so you think he's going to slice and dice him?
I got Skubal punching him at least twice.
Twice?
Twice.
Dang.
Twice.
Okay.
Long from the right side. He'll get beat with heaters, and then he'll get beat with a changeup the second at bat.
The Dodgers-Giants rivalry renewed this weekend. Ohtani back on the bump on Saturday. Is it just an inning again? Like, what are we doing with Ohtani on the mound?
Yes, little bursts. Little star bursts.
Okay. All right. I think the plan is, at least for me, boots on the ground in Atlanta, flying out on Sunday. So I want to be able to, be present for the draft on Sunday. Very excited for that. And then doing some media day content, doing some stuff with MLB Network, doing some social stuff for Underdog. And then I don't know when my flight back is, but I would love to be able to get back on Tuesday, somewhere like after the red carpet, but before the game would be mint. I do not want to be in Atlanta. I want to be in my bed at Kowloon on Tuesday night.
You get a bed at Kowloon?
Yeah. Yeah, they actually took your picture off the wall, which was not by my request, but
I don't believe that.
all right, everyone. Enjoy your weekend of baseball. And we'll be riding this thing right into the All-Star break. I would say programming-wise, maybe an episode Monday. I mean, if Dallas and Jayhay are around and I am unavailable, you'll still probably get an episode. But Monday, it's going to be kind of a shit show. Like, I'm going to try to get like some social clips and media day. So we'll do our best to figure it out for next week's pods. We'll do our best. So
Monday's the day of Monday's Derby day, right? Yeah.
Monday's the Derby, yeah. Yeah. So unless we want to record like Sunday at some point, maybe, I don't know, because we didn't even do like Derby picks or anything. Maybe we can do something Monday morning before I go, because I think the media day is probably somewhere like around lunchtime. I don't know yet. I got to get the details, but yeah, we even if it's something quick, if we did like a Derby preview episode or something like that.
Just, you didn't come to me for final thoughts, but I always got your back,
Yeah.
And I just want to note that there is a Delta nonstop at 4:50. Gets into Boston at 7:37 on Tuesday.
Oh.
So that could be like that sweet spot that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's the good shit right there, brother. Yeah, I'm going to try and get that flight then. If anyone's listening, don't book that flight. Yeah, don't book that flight. That's my flight, brother. All right, we'll see everyone next week. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
We out.